If you've ever played a game on the internet, you know the only thing people love more than watching you play is telling you how to play a game they're not playing. Sometimes it's helpful, like telling me about a grace outside the Godskin Duo I didn't know about. Sometimes it's emotional support during a tough boss fight. And sometimes they tell you to use the rivers of blood to make Malenia easy during your poison ivy run. So if chat is so smart, let's just have them do it. This week, instead of trying to beat Elden Ring, I summoned my chat to do it instead. And believe it or not, this is our first damageless run. To watch these runs live, follow me on Twitch. We find new ways to play Elden Ring all the time. Join my Patreon if you want to give me money. That's where I get to keep the majority of it. Now, I'm going to get started. Or I guess we are going to get started. So I wanted to set the multiplayer password before starting the stream, but then I realized I wouldn't have any footage of us fighting a grafted scion, that we aren't fighting anyway. Cowabunga, password is set, we grab a horse. I forgot to buy a crafting kit, kind of important for this run since multiplaying is a crafting item. Ronnie just won't stop talking though. I can't use the spirit bell. I'm summoning chat, you dork. On our way to Margit, we get exploded to death. Oh, yeah, when I said this was damageless, I didn't mean we don't take damage. I mean, we don't deal damage. Time for our first boss. Look, if we can't attack, there's surely no reason to level up, right? That means it's time for our first summon. I wonder who it will be.
Jesus Christ, that's Jason Bourne.
She's rocking the Giza wheel because it's not just Jason Bourne, it's Jason Bloodborne. Wait, how can she wield that if she's a level 1 character? So it turns out if you summon, the person you're calling in will have the stats to wield their equipment as long as they would have that before you summoned them in. Their damage and total health will be scaled down though, so despite Jason's sick-ass wheel, it is not pizza time. The base heal spell doesn't have enough range, and I'm not practiced enough playing healer. She does her best, but it's not enough. Cowabunga. We'll go to the Dragon Barrel for our normally scheduled dragon grind. Since I can't make it bleed, we summon
Nick Cage,
who is decidedly in the Ghost Rider era. While he's whipping away, I'm gonna give some underrated Nick Cage reps. The intro clip was from The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, one of my favorite movies of last year. Last year was a good year for movies. It's just a fun little meta buddy comedy with Pedro Pascal as the other buddy. Then for some real big Cage acting choices, Vampire's Kiss. He does the whole alphabet. It's amazing. Nick will be back for more of a fight later. Right now, we just needed his bleed. I make a run through Fort Faroth by myself, just gotta get the Dectus Medallion, then it's time for the Clean Rot Knights. As long as one of the people we summon has some fire, we should be good. We get Alice and Mavrin. Alice is a one-shot caster, meaning he's going to one-shot or be one-shot. No vigor here, but he's pretty good as long as he stays back. Mavrin brings in the Blasphemous Blade, a mixture of different incantations, but the fire damage makes Clean Rots go bye-bye. I got rotted. Alice died, but the fire was hot enough to cook these ladies and get us the Golden Scarab for 20% more runes. For Nerd Juice, I tried to heal Yura in the fight, but that didn't work. Yura kinda sucks. I have to pop a finger remedy and start running. Alice is back, he dies instantly. No vigor. Jason Bloodborne is back, and I learn a new thing about multiplayer. If you summon for an NPC fight, they get another flask every time you summon someone. Jason dies, and Alice is back to redeem himself. I'm out of magic, I can't help anyway. Thankfully, Alice has the Black Blade, which does huge damage to Nerd Juice. It looked like he was about to lose, but a glint blade he summoned sneaks around the back to kill Nerd Juice as he died. R.I.P. Alice, forever in our hearts. Patches should be easy. He's Patches, but summoning fails the first time I go in. I can't do damage. This is a damageless run after all, so first death to Patches in the series history. Wow. Next try we bring Alice, and he dies. Imagine getting vigor checked by Patches. Worth noting here, we wouldn't be here without Alice, but like, Alice get vigor. He comes back with a new friend, Virgil, Devil May Cry. That means this video now officially features Virgil from the Devil May Cry series. She has a bunch of sword lasers and laser swords. Very cool, but they don't kill Patches after he surrenders. Patches lives. Just this once, everybody lives. Back to Margit. Virgil and Nicolas Cage together at last. I think Nick Cage doing a Parent Trap thing in a Devil May Cry movie as Dante and Virgil would be a perfect movie. Looks like Virgil also has cold-infused venomous fangs now, proccing frostbite and poison. Nick's double whips are very cool. The bleed is nice, but unfortunately, it's 2006 again because Nick Cage fell off. I have rejection. It's a shockwave that deals no damage, but can distract distract some bosses. Margit is too big to smash though, so all I can do is heal Virgil. She doesn't need a lot of help though, and gets us the win. After blasting through the danger path of Stormveil, we get Jason Bourne and a new challenger, Aubergine, for Godric. She has a bubble horn. It's a very cool weapon. Maybe I should do a run with that soon. While she's tooting it up with the force of a ska band's brass section, Jason is in there getting the bleed off. These gals carry the fight for me. I don't really even have to heal. On to Liurnia.
We clean up and now it's time to learn.
Lakes are big, so let's just do the speedrun stuff to get through it as fast as possible. Bada bing, bada boom, we're close to Smaragd. After Cilia and Virgil handle this pesky invader, I learn one of this run's biggest weaknesses: cowards. Not Virgil and Cilia, they're brave. Smaragd is a coward who won't stop running away. Normally, you chase them down on horseback, but you can't summon Torrent with allies, so Smaragd just sort of isn't an option. Thankfully, there are no mandatory dragon fights, so we can just grab the key and go to class. For the Red Wolf of Radagon, we bring Alice and Virgil. Okay, we bring Virgil. She does a great job, gets the doggy to 10%-ish health, and then dies. Let's try Alice and Aubergine, and both die. Alice, you gotta stay back, my dude. I'm gonna give him one more chance. Alice does a better job staying back and spamming while Aubergine toots away. I kinda wanna try that toot weapon, maybe next week. After Alice dies, because he is the Kenny McCormick of this run, Aubergine gets off one more toot for the big win. My skills against Moongrum are unmatched. He doesn't even need to be on screen for me to win. That's raw talent. For Renala, we have Lumdepedia and Vike. Ah yes, that is assuredly Vike. Vike is the NPC that's fully devoted to the blood god. Makes sense, he's so good at killing kids. Loom is another mixed caster. Apparently a lot of my chat is mixed casters. Sorry about dunking on spells all the time. She dies a little before the wolves come out in phase 2, leaving me and Vike to get the job done. Then I run out of magic. Or at least enough magic to heal. I can still rejection the Bloodhound Knight to keep Vike safe, and yeah, now I'm fully useless. My only idea, maybe take damage so I can heal and draw aggro with that. Not from Comet Azur though, yeah, don't want to get hit by that. Eventually, Vike gets us the win. Love that Vike. All of his blood stuff, the thing Vike is known for. Now imagine having friends in Fort Height. There we can continually bully the Fort Knight by knocking them off the ladder. Technically, we don't have to, but technically, I'm not dealing damage. Gravity is dealing damage. I feel like the writer of a Batman comic now, just explaining why I get to kill things and it doesn't count. We needed the other part of the Dectus Medallion to head up to Altus and fight the most intense battle of my goddamn life. This next boss is like a raid. And speaking of raids, this video is brought to you by, I'm kidding. They sponsored my other channel once a few years ago, and I didn't have a great time working with them. So if you ever see a Raid Shadow Legends ad on this channel, just know they gave me a lot of money. Altus is cool, but I actually want to prep more before fighting the Draconic Tree Sentinel. First, I'm grabbing Shabriri's Woe, which should help us draw aggro to keep the chat safe. While there, might as well try and get the Sacred Tear. Vari chases us around. Y'all know Vari. Gets frenzied, bangs dragons. That guy, Vari. I tried to push him off a cliff. It didn't work, so I died again. The Great Shield Talisman boosts our guard boost with a shield by 10, so getting a Great Shield might be nice. Our plan is to use Shabriri's Woe to draw the aggro, then use the shield to tank damage, and use Lord's Heal from Corn Syrup. It's like a heal, but lordier. When I say the Tree Sentinel boss fight was the most intense fight I've ever had in a FromSoft game, know that I'm not exaggerating here. First attempt, oh, there's definitely gonna be multiple attempts by the way. We summon Mavrin and Tammy. They're both dressed up like Crucible Knights. The drip is immaculate, and I had to bring them together. I figure out the rejection does interrupt his moves, but some of his moves are faster than the shockwave. After running out of magic, I try to hot swap in Shabriri's Woe. It kinda works, but mostly doesn't. Here's the issue. Shabriri's Woe only increases the range at which you take aggro. It doesn't actually help you get it, you still gotta hit stuff. Both of our allies are dead, but wait, we're outside. I can just go summon more. I died trying to do it, but we're gonna really be playing a summoner here. First up for round 2, Cilia and Loom. Haven't really been able to talk about Cilia yet, but he's rocking an arcanic blood weapon type build, even has some rot breath in there. Loom is bringing her weird castery self. I don't really know how to pin down exactly what she's doing, but she's doing a great job. I'm just trying to keep aggro and stop the Tree Sentinel from attacking them with rejection. It's rough because some of his attacks are too fast. Loom dies, leaving me in Cilia. I try to resummon, but I get killed doing it. Next up, Tammy and Redmane Jacob. Tammy's still doing the Crucible Knight cosplay, and Redmane Jacob is cosplaying a Redmane Knight. Fitting. We managed to get a few heals off here and there. Then I noticed Tammy is rocking Horalu's Earthshaker. Looks so rad, I don't care if it's kind of bad, it's badass. That's all that matters. Jacob bites it, so I try and go summon. Tammy dies, and after about a minute of dodging the tree sentinel, I realize summoning didn't start. All bosses joins, and he's got some rot. He dies pretty fast though. Aubergine comes in. We get Redmane Jacob back. This is full cleric hours, just healing, summoning, and resurrecting people, and then feeling really guilty when they die. I do rejection the big hammer 3 times in a row. That's fucking funny. And then I died. That one was on me. Cilia, all bosses. I try tanking with rejection, they both spam some rot. Then they both die. The healing range on Lord's Heal kinda bites, especially with the bosses that are so mobile. I know it's the second biggest healing spell in the game, I just think the healing spells in this game are bad. I'm not on team chat with my chat, they're listening to me 3 seconds later in stream, so yeah, it's kinda hard to tell people to get in place. Both of them die, so I give Jason Bourne and Aubergine next go. Here, they get beautiful stance breaks that I ruin because I already started charging a rejection and you can't cancel it. Shit. I guess you can't crit a boss that's on horseback anyway, so it's not all that bad. It's not ideal. We do stop a lot of hits, but not enough to save Jason. After she dies, we summon Maverin again and try to bait the tree sentinel away from the summoning pool. Up next is Alice.
I'm going to die!
He does a great job, actually. I shouldn't talk shit. He's got the black blade and whittles off a lot of the tree sentinel's HP. He does die. Kenny McCormick, remember? Cilia is back, and so is Virgil, and they're pissed. They're ready to carry us to the win. If I didn't die again, that one's on me. Maverin and Aubergine are back for the next fight. Never mind, they both died pretty much immediately. I tried to hide while Cilia and Loom were loading in, but mission failed. We'll get him next time. Both Cilia and Loom have rot breath. It's applied, so all we have to do is not die. Someone should have told Cilia. Loom draws the aggro while I go try to pick up Tammy, except it didn't work. Instead, I just bob and weave as much as possible while rot does its thing. Eventually we get Virgil, and finally Tammy gets summoned. They can finish him off and end an entire section of this video devoted to the tree sentinel. Now, let's take a break and do something easier.
I get high with a little help from my friends.
Normally, I'm not summoning for anything but bosses, but hey, I'm in this city. Gotta see my friends, right? It's mostly because this Erdtree avatar drops a Lord's rune worth 50,000 runes. That's pretty nice. We get some drip in the church, specifically the Lionel set and the Deathbed dress. It has a unique property that heals summons and spirit ashes 2 HP per second. It's definitely noticeable, and enough to make a difference when bosses do 600 HP in one hit. You'll heal that off in 5 minutes. Redmane Jacob can be my bodyguard. I feel like we're long lost pals. I also brought in Maverin by the time we get to the Godfrey Shade, but they both get squished pretty fast. Then Maverin and Inigo. The Godfrey Shade killed his father. Prepare to die. Okay. I meant the Godfrey Shade should die. Okay, let's try it again with Loom and Inigo. Inigo does a great job of tanking while Loom snipes with all of her Loom-itude. If I'm picking superhero analogies, Loom has big Zatanna energy. Like, girl, what do you do? And what don't you do? Since our heals have been kind of lacking, and that's the only thing I can contribute to these fights, let's level up our casting seal. Into Raya Lucaria Crystal Cave, use rejection to bully some miners off a cliff, and summon Virgil. She has a weapon. That's all you need to beat the Crystallion. Actually, I've beaten it with my fists, so you just kind of have to be alive. That's a Smithing Stone Bell Bearing 1. Number 2 is in the Sealed Tunnel. They call it that because you have to go there to upgrade your seal. Right on the way to Morgott, we grab Blessings to the Erdtree. It's another regen ability. It's 6 times better than the Deathbed dress, and actually stacks with it, so that's 14 HP per second for my pals. It's a little over 600 a minute, so as long as the bosses aren't super aggressive, it should be helpful. We have Maverin and Tammy for Morgott. Now we can actually see the effects of the big healing spells. Honestly, I'd say that Lord's Heal is the first usable healing spell that's worth the time it takes to cast. Just my opinion. I know some people really like them. I think they're dookie, and red flasks are good enough. Don't get hit so much. Morgott down. Let's get high. With friends. Actually, the friends don't really get high with us. We just kind of run through the Forbidden Lands and go up an elevator. Huh. Bad title. The Smithing Stone Bell Bearing 3 will let us make our casting seal even better, which is going to be important for the Fire Giant. Remember how Dragon was a problem because it would run away and was probably meant to be fought on horseback? Well, what is a giant? A bipedal, scaleless dragon. For this fight, we have I Will Die and Aubergine. Encouraging name. I post up by the feet since that's where everyone's going to need healing. I spelled that in the script with 2 E's, but nobody is going to get that joke if I don't explain it. I Will Die has a sick Ice Lightning Halberd. I don't even know what that is, but it's very cool. Aubergine is Tooting, which does massive damage to bosses with big hitboxes. It's like the nut spell, but with bubbles and less cum jokes. We died here, that's my bad. Quick note, if anyone wants to farm Erdly flowers, there are 4 within 1 second of the 4 Belfry's Grace. If you're on PS5 or PC, the load screen should be fast enough that you can just preset and farm them over and over again. Next try, introducing the Leper. Very cool, very good build here. He's using the Black Blade from Maliketh, which does total HP damage, but not until phase 2. And I kind of beefed it against the fire pillars. They go that far? Look at how far that is. Damn. Next attempt, I Will Die and Aubergine. We're sticking to the feet like a movie theater floor and healing every chance we can get. If we die here, I want it to be my fault. Chat was nice enough to help. I don't want them getting roasted by YouTube comments. Phase 2 starts, and fun fact, cutscene warps you, but doesn't warp the people you summon. My guests are way back by the boss door. Ruh-roh. Aubergine gets stuck by an invisible wall, but she's fine. We have another issue. It's the fire giant's balls. When you're on horseback, they're pretty easy to bait and run away from. When you're not on horseback, the explosion is massive and doesn't give you a whole lot of room to get away easily. I try to bait those balls whenever I can, but it's not great. I'm not a master of it. I'm out of magic. Aubergine dies. Then I Will Die dies. Accurate name, I suppose. And we can't summon Alexander because I forgot to do his quest. Also, this isn't can my chat and Alexander beat Elden Ring. It doesn't really matter that I said that. Top comment's definitely gonna be, did you know you can summon Alexander to fight the fire giant anyway? So maybe I'll just snipe it so nobody else gets the satisfaction. The strategy last time was solid. We just needed a bit of better luck. Everything kinda goes the same way next time, but we're luckier. Aubergine and the Leper claim the fire giant and we can all burn down the Erd tree. We're in the end game now, unless I decide to make this an all remembrances run. Wouldn't that be silly?
This is the end, beautiful friend.
The Godskin Duo is no match for my Chatskin trio. We have Virgil and newcomer, Rain Storm. She opens up with the Scarlet Aeonia and kinda gets wrecked for it. Virgil also gets wrecked. However, I want to point out, Rain's move there, not a bad idea. You can put the rot status effect on Skinny and Chunky at the same time, meaning it's ticking twice since they share an HP bar. It's risky and they died, but I like where their head was at. I get 2 fingers in my hole since we're a little short on faith to cast Blessings of the Erd Tree, and y'all know, I want to kiss my homies before a boss fight. Rain is back with Loom this time. They're both blessed, so they don't need to be stressed. Loom uses Elden Stars, huh? Okay, I'm not besmirching anyone who helped, but I will besmirch the player version of Elden Stars because it's garbage. Not Loom's fault. We died. That's on Elden Stars. Next attempt, our Stars of Elden are I Will Die with the God-slaying Greatsword and Void with the Bloody Stars. Oh, and Sleep Pots? So one Godskin does go to sleep, the next one gets big black flamed, and Void shows off how neat Wild Strikes are on the Bloody Stars. Wild Strikes just lets you walk forward and swing. Bloody Stars has innate bleed. Bye-bye Godskin Duo. I don't need any friends for the swag jump. I make the swag jump to make friends. There's a Lord's Rune on Alexander's path, not fighting him today, just getting this to get another level and then falling down a hole. I guess if Alex isn't here to do it, I will. Bird Run is next, pretty uneventful, thank Marika. Grabbing the Old Lord's Talisman is a bit more exciting. That extends the duration of Blessings of the Erd Tree for more potent pre-boss fight smooches. It's guarded by a bunch of beast men we have to kite away for safety. Part of me wants to just ignore the Draconic 3 Sentinel, but I decided to summon Rain and Cilia to just get him out of here. It looked like their HP was fine after that, so what the heck, let's go right into Maliketh. Rain got the rot off at the beginning of phase 2 and then died. I call out to Cilia, we have to outlast the rot, and immediately got hit by the big AoE. Maybe I should have taken my own advice. Unfortunately then Cilia dies, so I just hit Maliketh with the satisfaction cancel and jump off. Maliketh might win, but that doesn't mean he gets to kill me. Round 2, Void and Virgil this time. Maliketh is another one of those bosses that's kind of hard to keep up with the heals, but here's where I learned, you can hold the heal indefinitely until someone runs in to grab it. I also learned that for attacks that are aimed at head level, getting on your knees will help you avoid the hit. Google get on your knees for Maliketh on your work computer to learn more. We get a sick heal off right before the AO hits both of our fighters, keeping them alive long enough to get the win. Now, let's hit the DLC of Dark Souls 3.
I'm stuck with a valuable friend.
Void said they had some sick tech for Gideon, so I tried to summon them, but didn't work. That's fine. I like Loom and Cilia just fine. Kisses for my babies. Bit of a hiccup though, the summons can't come in until Gideon shuts up, so I gotta push him down. I keep pushing him when I can, but then Cilia gets nuked and then Loom gets nuked. Just for fun, I practice dodging and knocking him over for about a minute. GG's. Next attempt we get Virgil and Void, and he was saying that you can kill Gideon with the frenzy in one shot from the frenzied burst, and oh, he was right, what the hell? On the same bed we got Blessings of the Erdtree. We can grab the Erdtree's Heal, the biggest area and the biggest health healing spell in the game. It is massively helpful. For Godfrey, we have Loom and Gideon Ofnir, the all-knowing. While Loom's Elden Stars are Elden Stars, Gideon's Ash of War lowers everyone's magic and holy resistance. Godfrey doesn't have holy damage or magic damage. Loom has a lot. After that, Gideon dies, and yeah, he's Gideon, kind of just a ripoff of Alice if I'm being honest. The stomps are out and I'm trying to keep up with Loom, sometimes just tanking through the shockwave to pull off a heal. It's not enough though. Loom gets fissured and we have to start over. Gideon also pairs fantastically with Virgil. Virgil leads with Ranni's Dank Moon, which also makes Godfrey take more magic damage. Keep in mind his HP bar is over twice as big since we've summoned 2 people, so this damage is huge. Unlike the boss version, our Gideon has to drink a lot of blue flasks, but we make sure none of them have to drink red flasks, with great healing. Virgil gets hit with the Daddy Grabby in phase 2, but it's not enough to kill. Gideon gets the Aeonia off, and then some Black Flame to totally melt the first Elden Lord. We activate Godric's Great Rune. Radagon's might have been good, but our Mind and Endurance aren't even close to the soft caps, so there's no real reason to. Godric's is just better. Against Radagon, we have 2 newbies, but actually just alt builds of other people from chat, like Old Swag Jump Bay, a tribute to my Vigor only run. That's nice. And Azur, rocking the Health and Steeple, which is an underrated and super rad weapon. I give everyone Hugs and Kisses, which is Lord's Divine Fortification for 60% more holy resistance, and Blessings of the Erdtree for some regen. Let's do this. Starting off, I don't really even care if I get hit. I heal off way more damage than I'm taking with the Erdtree heal and keep my chatters alive. I even delay some heals to give them time to get in. Azur takes us into phase 2 with a big, meaty crit against Radagon, and I refresh our Hugs and Kisses before the Elden Beast. This big boy leads off with one of the big sword waves. I got hit by it, but it doesn't matter. Divine Fortification kind of makes this fight a joke. Our team gets a stance break and I heal off any boo-boos they had while they open up 2 full cans of whoop-ass on God. The first rings took a while to come out, weird. Then the Elden Stars are almost as bad as Loom's version when we're taking 60% less damage from them. Uh-oh, Old Bay got grabbed. First rule of Elden Ring, don't get grabbed. Now it's just me and Azur, so I refresh the regen. I'm running low on magic, so I try and save it for emergencies. Though I do make an exception when I can get off another Divine Fortification. It's an economical decision. If he takes less damage, I don't have to heal as much. Since I have healing flasks, I pop on Shabriri's Woe to try and tank some aggro. It just doesn't work. But Azur has plenty of healing flasks too, since I've been on point with my healing. He dodges the Elden Flurry flawlessly, flex on me, damn, and pulls it out for the win. You know what?
Yeah, I've got time.
Fudge it. Let's make this an all remembrances run.
He looked me right in the eyes, and at the top of his lungs, he screamed, "Never let the party die!"
Let's do a super truncated Ranni quest. Killer brother with Mavrin and Void. I'm terrible at dodging his arrows without a horse, and you might think that we have the fire giant dragon problem here. We would if we weren't super over leveled. Caria Manor, we get Jason Bloodborne, and Rain for Loretta. Again, super over leveled. Bye bye, sweetie. Say hi to Ranni. Enter Radagon's hole with Virgin and Loom. All 3 of us in his hole fight the Mimic Tier, and it's so fast it's already done. There's a remembrance we almost never get because, like, why is it a remembrance? The Regal Ancestor's Spirit. I summon Mavrin outside the deer head and Loom inside. Turns out the Loom summon was the correct place and Mavrin can't come in.
Let me in! Let me in!
Loom has a lot of holy damage. This is one of like 3 bosses that's good against, so she cleans up. And Mavrin ran around outside, killing random people, so sometimes we just get runes. Neat. I died to a stray Mimic Tier. Pretend you didn't see that, okay? Into the Incel River main, through a Lake of Rot, and summon Void and Jason Bloodborne for Astel. Let's be honest, Astel is a Bloodborne 2 boss that they're playtesting. They do great, and we have 3 remembrances super fast. It actually took like 50 minutes, but I shortened it here. Now we have 1 wife, yes, but what about a 2nd wife? Well, for that we have to get into the Deeproot Depths, and for that we have to beat the Valiant Gargoyles. I summon Loom and Mavrin, and you know what? We struggled a bit. The Valiant Gargoyles aren't properly scaled. Bad boss. We didn't lose. I'm good at healing, but yeah, give them like a weakness. Maybe? Fia's Champions time. They're even easier because as Perpetually Tired pointed out from my chat, this lady with the Halo scythe, yeah, she must be using a physic tier to hit the minimums to use her stuff. She just kind of ends up pointing at stuff because she can't use it. Hilarious. Carry and Study Hall, a very fun chore if you like platforming through a laser factory. Kind of feels like Ratchet and Clank without a glide, so, you know, shitty. At the top of the Divine Tower of Liurnia, we scoop up the Curse Mark of Death, then go to third base with Fia. Third base is hugging, right? For Fortisax, we have to summon people all the way outside the back of the cave, then run all the way back into Fia's Inception Dream. It has a big lightning dragon, proving that Christopher Nolan is a hack, and Void and Loom get their fight on. Loom has the big bubbles, and that's pretty great against dragons. Fortisax is dead. We have 2 wives, yes, but what about a giant god-eating snake? That's not a wife. Thankfully, Raya is still alive, so we can speed run up to Volcano Manor in less than 10 minutes, even though we've never been anywhere near Mount Gelmir. Through a secret wall into the secret city, and we can fight a Godskin noble with Loom and newbie Jalapeno, but spelled like the bread. Great name. He doesn't really get to show off though, since we're kinda over leveled. I had a brilliant idea for Rykard. Max out the Serpent Hunter, then drop it for one of my helpers so they can power stance them. After a 5-minute quest to level it up, I discovered you cannot give other people the Serpent Hunter. Whap whap. Jalapeno and Jason Bloodborne brought their own from home though, so I just bounced back and forth between them to keep everyone alive. Rykard is a cool looking boss, but there's never a lot to talk about with him. Personally, Yorm is my favorite Storm Ruler fight, since you don't actually have to use the Storm Ruler to beat him, you can use the build you've built. Sane's the funny skeleton kills us on our way to the castle's hole. Then we get our first network connectivity problem while summoning for Nile. 2 new friends, Kale using the Bloodhound's Fang, very cool weapon, and the Mariner using the Anchor and Bubble spells. Great meme build, 10 out of 10. Again, I do my best impression of a tennis ball and bounce back and forth healing everyone. We can kind of tank through the hits at this point and heal anyway. The AoEs are a bit of a problem, but weirdly enough, standing in front of him makes him use the spear. When I'm on my knees, his spear goes over my head. Google getting on my knees for Nile on your work computer to find out more. Haligtree medallions acquired, and we're off to the consecrated snowfield. Summoning for the Penguin Noble, it's a bit of an issue because there isn't like a clear place to do it, and a bunch of dogs attacked Kale as we brought them in. But we can beat down the frosty cultists and get into Mohg Palace. I don't need a flashlight for the cave, and I don't need the Mohg tier. I want to see what chat can do without it. Here's what chat can do without it. Mage, Void, I choose you!
Oh wait, you can shackle as a guest? Oh, with frostbite too? Oh, holy shit! Yo, holy shit! Oh my god!
Neat. Placidusax is next, and we don't really have to do anything to get to him like the other remembrances. By the way, you summon before you take a nap in the grave, if you were wondering. Then your friends Loom and Void will be there. Maybe, if they're also your friends. Loom has the big bubbles. I'm so excited to try and use that horn someday. Placidusax dies. Again, the bubble horn is the nut, but less horny. Or more horny, because it's a literal horn. Also, yeah, the trophy pop. This is the first time I've beaten Placidusax on my main account. I had to make a new one for the speedrun. There's only one remembrance left, but, well, this one's a doozy.
I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you!
Honestly, just getting to Malenia is a problem. The liturgical town is easy when you can attack the archers, but we can't, so whoops. It only got me once. Next time I just pushed the archer off the roof and lit all the torches. Into the Haligtree, avoid the bubbles and avoid the rot, make the super swag jump, and get ready for one of the deadliest bosses in post-game. Not Loretta. It's the goddamn Battle Mage. Someone, who will remain nameless, suggested summoning by the shortcut elevator to avoid the Battle Mages. But that just staggers everyone's movement, forcing us to deal with the Battle Mage and blast me off the rope bridge to my death. Then I just goofball death to reading chat and falling off another bridge. That's my fault. And then we got commented off again. So that nameless chatter's brilliant idea will now be ignored. We're just gonna quit out in front of Loretta's door, then summon safely. It's Jalapeno and Mariner. They both do great. On the way to Melania, I fell one more time. Now, let's fight the worst boss in this run. Everybody knows Malenia heals herself when she hits you, and if you didn't, well, I guess now you do. Bloodborne fans keep winning. Her healing is percentage based on her total health. Her total health is normally 33,000. Summoning 2 people gives her 130% more HP for closer to 76,000. And when phase 2 starts, she gets 80% of that back for free. So the minimum damage you have to do to kill her is 137,000. And by you, I mean my chat, because I can't help. Every time she hits though, she heals 1% of her max HP, or around 700. The waterfowl dance has a lot of goddamn hits, and she heals even if she hits your shield. That's a brief summary of what's going on here. Now, here's how Void and Jason Bloodborne did. I forgot she leads with a jump scare, so I'm healing this whole time with a little bit of pee in my pants. Void is rocking the Blasphemous Blade and Morgoth's Sword, both of which have fire, something Malenia does not resist at all. And Jason has the Chikage, or Rivers of Blood as it's called here. But she's from Bloodborne, so it's the Chikage. Bleed is awesome, except she also has doubled resistances, and every time a bleed pops, it takes longer to pop again, and she heals. We get to phase 2, but Void dies in the whirlwind, and Jason dies slightly after. I just try to dodge as much as possible. It's never a bad idea to practice dodging against Malenia. Then I realized I can save my rune arc if I quit out. Still counts as a death, but yeah, bye. Next round, we have Loom and Virgil. Virgil leads with Rani's Dank Moon, then Loom uses Holy. Hey, I guess you take the sun, you take the moon, and Malenia took my kids. Yeah, Ducky Dance doesn't mess around. R.I.P. Loom and Virgil. You'll be back again soon, I hope. Kale is next, and Carnage, a newcomer with some big poise damage. They're using crucible spells like the Shoulder Charge, and that is pretty great solo. Kale and I are just a little too distracting for Malenia. Kale's using a bleed build, which works great until, you know, the Ducky Dance. But one less distraction makes things better for Carnage, and you can see more of what they were going for, knocking her on her tuchus and slamming her with the Appetizer Vortex, until, you know, another Ducky Dance. Jason Bloodborne and Kale again. 2 bleed builds are great, and I get more brazen with my heals. I even managed to keep Kale alive through the Ducky Dance twice. He switches to the Blasphemous Blade to knock her down, which is pretty great, but she just heals so much goddamn damage. We can't get it done here. Next round, Void comes in with a great idea. Percentile damage from the Blade of Death. We really need that for phase 2. Jason is also back, but she's dead before phase 2. Malenia is so close to dying and going into phase 2, and then the Ducky Dance just pops her back up. God damn it. Doesn't really matter that Void has a big shield, the healing is back. It heals through shields. In phase 2, Malenia uses the Rot Flower like a bunch, and Void doesn't really have a bunch of range stuff, so it kind of just wastes time. We died again. This next one is really fun. We've got Jalapeno and Carnage. Carnage is rocking one of my favorite weapons this time, the Giant Crusher. You might think Jalapeno is gonna spam spells, and yeah, he does, but those spells are also giant hammers. It's hammer time, Malenia. Knocking her down is pretty effective. Her biggest weakness is probably her low poise. Remember, that is different than stance. Poise knocks you down, stance gets you crit. So they just keep knocking her down and start phase 2 off with a Comet Azure from Jalapeno. It's all going great until they get caught up in the Rot Whirlwind. That's a shame. Virgil and Azure for the next attempt, and folks, this is what I call synergy. Rani's Dank Moon lowers Malenia's magic resistance and applies a bit of Frostbite. Then Azure heads in with Health and Steeple, and the Frostbite lowers her resistances even further while dealing mostly magical damage. He's tanking with Virgil in the back, now opening up with Blade Beams from the Dank Moon Greatsword. That applies tons of Frostbite and stance pressure. Azure also has ranged options, so everyone can switch aggro and make sure my heals are safe. Phase 2 starts really smooth, just so many lasers melting down this Rot Goddess. And it actually continues going smoothly, with a stance break and a crit from Azure, and one final hit from Virgil. At 9 hours and 19 minutes, chat was able to kill 30 bosses, and I only died 36 times. It ends up on the lower end of C tier, right ahead of Wolverine, and I think that's fair, honestly. Everyone was fighting bosses with over twice as much health, and double the status resistance. The beginning of the run, my low level was also making them so squishy they could barely move. Overall, it might be low ranked, but this was incredibly fun, and I'm so happy and grateful to everyone who helped. If you want to help with one of these runs, I think I'm going to start doing this as a regular thing for subscriber goals on Twitch. Head over there and check it out. Join my Patreon if you want to support these runs getting done every week, and check out my other channel if you want to see a video about Jim Carrey peeing on the floor of a film set.